And I have Patrick from Fleet Watch Magazine, is directed to Minister Mbalula. Cross-border agents have received a notification from SARS detailing a directive from the National Border Management Coordinating Committee regarding opening of ports of entry for movement of persons and goods. It states that as from 1st of October, that's tomorrow, all truck drivers leaving and entering South Africa will have to present a COVID-19 negative result on departure from and arrival at the South African borders. Is this true? If so, the drivers will not be able to adhere to this. Komati Port, for example, has some 2,000 drivers crossing per day, and where do they get these tests done by tomorrow? And what of the drivers who are currently out of the country returning to South Africa? They do not have where to have tests done to comply with these on their return. The practicalities of implementing this from tomorrow provide a logistical impossibilities. Can the date be postponed, or is this set in gold? Thanks, Minister.
So that was your last one.
Okay, I have another one. Sorry, Mister. From Sofa Mukwena from SABC. The Northern Hemisphere is now approaching winter, and numbers are going up. With South Africa now approaching summer, what are going to do to ensure that we don't experience a surge on important cases as tourists will be visiting the country to enjoy the sun? And I have another one, Minister, from Christian du Plessis.
I hope that's the last one, because
that's the last one, Minister.
Okay.
All medium and low-risk countries allowed to travel to South Africa for all purposes? That's a question. Thanks, Minister.
Thank you very much. Who wants to start?
Let me just start with the last one.
Yes.
All travelers, including leisure, from low and medium risk are allowed to South Africa, including all countries on the continent. Thank
you. Joe, want to take something?
Journalist, yes.
Well, I think the immediate one I can take. Let me just, or should I leave I think the China is quite clear that, I mean, they had high infections quite early, and they managed to contain and very successfully. So if we can also just remember that even at the height of our imported infections, there were very, very few, if any, arising from China. Our imported cases came from Europe mainly and the US. So at the current moment, China remains a low risk because of the declining numbers. As colleagues will be aware that even cities like Wuhan, which remained under restrictions, are currently under completely no restrictions. So that explains why, from the question which asked about China and with category of risk, it is definitely low risk. Thank you.
Let's start with
summer issue. Clearly, I think the categorization which is there, as the ministers have explained, that the monitoring is ongoing. So indeed, as the infection rates change on a daily basis, our team, both from health and NetJoints, will be monitoring as they've been doing on a daily basis. We have a World WHO barometer which gives us the figures on a daily basis. So those will be aggregated on a weekly basis and on a fortnight basis and presented to Cabinet so that the categorization can be reviewed. And those who, as a result of change of weather, if indeed, remembering that it's not yet, scientifically confirmed that weather is indeed a major factor, but let's assume that it is. If those numbers start rising, even those countries which currently are on medium and low risk, they will then be categorized and excluded from leisure traveling. So that will be, and the announcements will be made regularly. Thanks.
Yes.
Well,
Okay. Yes,
it's important for us to repeat what President Ramaphosa has said, that the fact that we've entered level 1 doesn't mean the risk has ended. And so all the measures to protect ourselves must continue to be practiced. We should be wearing our masks when we're out in public. We must sanitize. We should ensure we wash our hands properly. We should ensure we avoid large gatherings and keep to the regulations. Not more than 100 people at a funeral, and all the rules that have been announced by government to protect us. To avoid an increase in numbers, we must observe all the guidelines of safety measures.
Mr. Mbalulu.
Yeah. Cross-border transport passenger services are permitted to operate from the 1st of October 2020. Cross-border freight transport and logistics, which is the question that has been asked, in respect of specified cargo and permitted retail goods to neighboring countries, which include goods imported through the South African ports of entry for re-export to neighboring countries, is permitted. All owners of cross-border road transport facilities must, on regular intervals, do what is right, sanitize and do all of that. The following measures will apply to all vehicles undertaking cross-border road transport services. Vehicles must be sanitized before picking up. All public transport vehicles, doors and window handles, armrests, and all of those things are supposed to be sanitized. Passengers must sanitize also. Operators must ensure that all cross-border road transport vehicles are clean and tidy. And operators must provide disinfection. All drivers must wear masks and all measures. No persons will be allowed to use any form of cross-border road transport or enter a building, place or a premises if they do not wear a face mask. So all cross-border operators from the first, like we said, will be allowed to operate, and so in terms of land transport and so on, so that is permitted in terms of also the directions that will issue will further elaborate on that. Minister of Home Affairs.
Yeah, I had a question or a statement that we must postpone the date because the logistics won't allow. And the person who asked the question quoted Komati Port. That's Lebombo border post between us and Mozambique. And he quoted truck drivers, etc. Remember that people who are conveying cargo, freight and cargo, have never been stopped even during lock level 5 when we started. The 18 border posts that have been operating, it was them operating there, and they were operating under particular conditions. They will just continue under those. What you are aiding are ordinary other travelers other than the truck driver. The truck ones have been doing it. They've never stopped taking essential goods and cargo across the border.